What is going on, y'all? This is your boy Ollie Footy, man. What a day of football, man. We got some really crazy midweek fixtures, but you know where we're at with it. Barcelona 3, Atleti nil. Atletico Madrid win 4-3 on aggregate, man. And Barcelona tried, bro. It was a valiant effort. I gotta give it to them. You know, Yamal was insane today. Ruggieri made him look like prime Neymar, bro. But this is what Yamal does, and it's why he's one of the best players in the world. But at the end of the day, Barca just lost too heavily in the first leg, and it came back to bite them. And yeah, they had a lot of opportunities. Especially, honestly, I want to talk about this third goal because it looked offside to me. It really did, and for a lot of people, they thought it was offside too. They showed us the graphic where the leg was just behind Bernal right before he went to score, so he was just barely onside according to that technology. But I know there's a little bit of a I don't know. There's just like a little bit of an error room, like margin for error. So like I heard like there's like 5 centimeters. Could be on or off, but it's fine. But like it's funny because in the first leg we saw Kubarsi score a goal, but they called it offside, and it was a little bit similar. It was just offside. And this one was just onside, but if things were different, right? If Kubarsi's goal gets given, now we're looking at 4-4. Who knows where this is now? Would have been insane. But yeah, Barca just lost too heavily. And, today I think if you want to take away anything outside of the fact that, Yamal is one of the best players in the world, um, I think you should take away that Barca still have a very potent attack. And I think Barcelona found out a lot of things about their team today. I think Kune on the right might be something you want to look forward to. Obviously, not Kunde, Cancelo on the right. Sorry, Cancelo on the right might be something you want to look forward to because they looked very smooth out there. And yeah, Letty gave him a lot of room to create and stuff, but Barca have a lot of possession anyway. So I think that could be something you could work with, and it made Yamal look more dangerous. I think. On the other hand, you can take away from this whole tie that that defending that's not gonna hold up. There's better teams in Europe that you're gonna face than Atleti, who, if you play like that across two legs, you're gonna get done up. Like you're not even gonna make it out. You're not even gonna have a chance to come back like this. There's smarter coaches, there's smarter players, better squads. So it's it's a tough pill to swallow for Barcelona, but look, at the end of the day, I let you deserve this off the basis of their first leg and just playing the objective, right? Just playing the objective. Let's take a little bit of a look at this, right? I mean, yeah, I'd give Jamal a 9 today. Bernal a 9 too. Bernal was, I don't know where he was just finding himself in dangerous places. Pedri was great today. Really, most of Barcelona was great today, except for Ferran Torres, which is funny. But yeah, I think you can't really fault Barcelona today. They did as much as they could. They had a lot of opportunities, right? Converted most of your big chances. So, they got 3 goals, which is what the XG shows. They should have about 3 goals. And yeah, it's unfortunate because they had a lot of chances. They really did. And, it didn't fall for them. Atleti defended well. And honestly, Atleti should have scored a few as well, right? They should have been probably 3-1 or 3-2. Lookman missed a few, or missed a big header, and Sorloth had a one-on-one. He probably could have scored. And obviously, a lot of chances are probably left on the table with the way Atleti played today, just because I feel like they didn't take advantage of the high line enough today. Like there were so many opportunities to get in behind, and they just didn't do enough with it. And I think to play like this is very much a risk to soak up the pressure and sit back and give Barca 71%. That's such a risk, man. You're asking to get scored on, really. And it's not like they had a lot of possession in their first win, but they went for it more. They're a lot more dangerous, right? Right, 34 is a lot better than just 29%. So yeah, it's a risk. It was a risk that Simeone took, but it paid off. You can't knock it. At the end of the day, you're through. Now you're looking at Sociedad or Bilbao. You should say you should beat those if you're Atleti Madrid, and especially because you haven't won a trophy since 2021. especially for being a big three team in Spain. But you never know, man. You can't show up like this, man. And luckily for them, this is a one tie, one match, one leg, right? So you don't have the luxury to sit back and soak up pressure. You're gonna go for it, and I think I would be very surprised if Atletico Madrid did not leave this season as Copa del Rey champs. That being said, though, great game. I honestly thought they were gonna do it, man. I actually thought they were gonna do it. It's funny because the first goal, once that went in, and then I was like, they got a chance, but maybe if they could get a second one, and then they get a second one, and that Pedri penalty was kind of soft, but it is a penalty. It's textbook. You can't leave your leg trailing. You just can't as a defender. It's always gonna be a pen. You can't argue it, even as soft as it looked. And yeah, from there I'm thinking, oh yeah, Barcelona are probably gonna do this, and the way the body language of Atletico Madrid players, and they're always shaking their head and they're mad at every call, and it's like, man, you can't be acting like that if you want to win. But they just defended just long enough, just well enough. Musso in particular, the goalie, had incredible saves, man. And yeah, I mean they pulled it out. So congrats to them. For Barcelona, where does this leave them? I mean, you still have La Liga. You're up 4 points. And we can talk a little bit about Madrid yesterday because that game to Getafe and just what's going on with Real Madrid is absolutely horrid. Okay, but Barcelona first are 4 points ahead, and honestly, a lot better of a team than Real Madrid, even though they lost 4-0 to Atleti. I think by far and away the best team in Spain, and there's no particular competition there, no contest. So they should win La Liga. For Barcelona, it's going to be focusing on the Champions League now. You're looking at Newcastle. It's going to be a tough game next week. Newcastle, not necessarily in the best of form. They just lost to Everton, right? And, they have some tough Prem games coming up. I think their next game, I want to say, well, we can just take a look. Okay, yeah, it was United. Yeah. They play tomorrow. That'll be fun. I'll cover that too. But yeah, they like that's gonna be tough to play United, and then the next game after is gonna be Chelsea in between their Barcelona legs. So it's a tough run for Newcastle right now, and we'll see how they cope with this. Because if you're losing to Everton, you don't have a lot of hope, right? Oh, and then they have City on Saturday. Oh my God, that's rough, man. That's rough. My goodness. Somebody get them some help. And then they have a derby right after the Barcelona tie. So, this is an important month for Newcastle. This is basically make or break, man. Oh my goodness. But it's still going to be a tough time for not only Newcastle, right, who have a tough run, but also for Barcelona. We saw what happened when they went up against Chelsea, and yeah, they had some injuries going up against Chelsea, but really, Chelsea dominated them, and those types of profiles of teams, those English teams that are so focused on athletic profiles now and dominating, and just being a better physical specimen than the other player, is it's tough for Barca to deal with. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, especially having to go to St. James, Barcelona. It's a tough place to play, and yeah, they won there before, but the stakes are higher now. Stakes are higher. You know, we'll see how they respond, man. It'll be interesting. No Frankie De Jong, by the way, either. But Newcastle have injuries, right? Obviously Bruno G. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how Barcelona deal with this, and especially with that high line and what Newcastle and the pace they have on the attack. We'll see how that shakes out. But on the other hand, as we close this chapter on Barcelona, I actually do want to talk about Real Madrid very quickly because my goodness, man, it's just in the mud for this team. It's in the mud. It's over. It's so over, man. And I mean, when you look at this Getafe game, man, my gosh, it's just so pedestrian, man. And I think for Real Madrid, this was always like impending. This doom was impending, and I can't even feel bad. Like it just like I said before, they didn't build this team. It feels like when I look at this Real Madrid team, there's no plan. Like, what is the plan? What is the plan anymore of this team? I just don't get it. They got a bunch of great players, but there's no plan. It's like great players on the pitch, play. But what's the plan, buddy? There's no plan. I've said plan 1,000 times, but clearly Madrid doesn't have one. Anyway, this game was your classic Getafe, right? Bordalas sits back, plays on the counter, tries to get one, and then they got one, and then they sat back, right? And Madrid just couldn't get the ball in the net. You know, you see here 5 big chances, didn't convert a single one. It's unfortunate for Madrid, and now you're looking at the news and like just the takeaways of this game, right? Rodrigo's injured, and Mastantuono's suspended, and you know you brought in all these guys. I remember when they took off all of these guys to bring on Brahim Diaz and Rodrigo, and it's like, man, like, and then Hoyson too, right? And Mastantuono, obviously, like, all these guys didn't do anything for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to be able to go to your bench and have, you know, some game changers, someone to energize your offense and hopefully get you a goal, right? And nah, it's just this team is pitiful. It's pitiful. It's crazy to say because 2 years ago, this team was the best team in the world, right? Or one of them, at least, you know. They did get lucky in that UCL run, but they won the UCL and they won La Liga, right? And it was, you know, it was a very tough team to beat. And you clearly saw the way they played. It was impeccable, man. But all of that just gone. It's just gone. And obviously, no Mbappe, who's going to be out indefinitely, basically. We don't even know how long he'll be out. And now Rodrigo's out with a torn ACL. Jude's going to be out probably through the month. Alaba, I heard, has an injury. So they're down to their, like, so they're hanging by a thread in attack. And obviously, Mastantuono now suspended for the next league game. It's like, it's just so, it's so pitiful, man. It's so pitiful. Honestly, if I was Real Madrid, put this season in the bag. There's nothing to gain. What do you gain if you're Real Madrid from going out to City, putting up a fight, and if you even get past City, you're getting 8 to the face by Bayern? Like, there's genuinely no hope for this team. There's no hope for this team. And you can see I'm a little happy because this team has scammed everybody. It's about time Madrid has had a banter era, okay? I am happy Madrid suck, and you should be too, man. Everybody's got to serve their turn, all right? PSG did it, and they did it in the same fashion too, with Mbappe as the face, right? It's time for Madrid to have a banter era. Barcelona had theirs. Obviously, you know, the biggest teams have had theirs. Bayern, Juve still having one. Manchester United, I don't even know if they're out of theirs for real. They're basically just getting out of it. So, look, Madrid, if we're being honest, if I'm being objective, there's a lot to do to change this team, right? You have to build it right, and you even can look at the manager, because I think the manager is probably very important, as well as, you know, the sporting director, whoever's making the sporting, you know, transfer decisions and like all of these things. A lot of clubs have sporting directors now, but those two people are so important because they build the culture and obviously the actual team, right? And they build a squad, they get the right profiles, and they're very important as far as the on-field product. And although the players are the ones playing, I think you have to build a squad that's complementary, right? You can't have Mbappe and Vinny. You can't have Rodrigo there. You got to get some, you know, build a team, right? Build a team. So I think you got to blow this up, genuinely. Blow this up and build a team. And it's tough because when you blow things up at a club as big as Madrid, it takes a long time to recover from. But they're just going to be in this weird, you know, juxtaposition until then. So, yeah, until you know, they get, you know, they get some proper midfielders, some proper, especially proper defenders, right? Rudiger's getting up there. You can't, obviously, Alaba, you can't trust anymore. You feel me? Carreras has been a decent signing. Like, I'm not mad at Carreras, but I think there's better left backs out there. If you can upgrade, I would upgrade, right? Um, Trent is, I guess, the jury's still out on him, you know, but he's not particularly lit the world up on fire either, right? And you know, in midfield, Tchouameni's done a serviceable job, but Like if you're Madrid, you want best in the world quality, right? This is the issue. Madrid's supposed to, right? And they're not entitled to it, but you expect Madrid to have a best in the world at least one in each line, right? Best in the world attacker, best in the world midfielder, and a best in the world defender, right? And you need to get back to that, or you might have a best in the world attacker, but do you have one in midfield right now? I don't think so. Do you have one in the back? Definitely not. Right, and Courtois is Courtois, but there's only so much he can do. So yeah, there's no way they're not good enough to win a league. They're not good enough to win a cup. They're not good enough to win UCL for sure. Damn not. So I say blow it up and rebuild with Mbappe as your spine. But until then, Barcelona, even though they lost today, still by far the best team away in Spain. Great win for Atleti today. They should be Copa del Rey champs. And yeah, let's get to the other big result today. Real quick, let's do a bit of an intermission. This Como Inter game I periodically checked on, man. This was the most boring game ever. Like there was no I think there was one shot on target here, which is hilarious to me. One shot on target. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, man. When you're looking at like what are 3 shots from Inter the whole game? 5 shots? Is this what we're doing? Oh my gosh, man. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm a little annoyed. I'm a little annoyed because I loved watching Como. They play some really good football usually, but I also think with the first leg maybe they're just not trying to leave with a disadvantage. It's unfortunate though because it doesn't make for entertaining football. But we'll see. I believe the next leg. Actually, let me check before I see something dumb. Okay, yeah, it's all the way next month, 6 weeks from now. Yeah, why would you go all out, bro? What? Wait till April. I understand. Coupe de France quarterfinal. Nice to see Strasbourg, getting in there because PSG are out. So I really think this cup is up for grabs, man. And some of the matchups for this is going to be interesting and intriguing to watch. I always thought Strasbourg were going to win this game from the jump. Just too talented of a team. Panicelli, they got 2 penalties here, but really better team than Ross. Just call it what it is. And now it'll be interesting because I think this is going to be a draw. But if I gave like some mini predictions here, I'd have Marseille to win, obviously in the Velodrome. Lyon just lost, so they're not as hot as they were. Same with Lens, who just had a draw with the Strasbourg, I think. Yeah, so this will be interesting to see who gets out here. But at the Groupama Stadium, which is where Lyon play, I would back Lyon to win here, even though Lens are one of the hottest teams in Europe still. This is going to be a fun and intriguing match to watch on Thursday. I would have Lyon winning there, but Strasbourg got a chance, man. I think Strasbourg are peaking at the right time. A few wins in their last 5 games, and wins are results against big opposition, right? Against Lens, you get a draw. That's great. And then on top of that, I believe they beat Lyon. Yes. There we go. So big one for them. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this. I think this will be fun because I think the winner gets to the Europa League, right? So Strasbourg currently outside of the European places. So this will be good for them if they got a win here and they won the cup. All right. That does that for that little intermission. Let's talk about this Wolves Liverpool game because oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. Wolves are just I don't know what happened to them. They're just like coming back now. What's up with this, man? What is up with Wolves, man? Because now they're on 16 points and it's still quite a long way from out of relegation. You're looking at 11 points there. But it's possible. It's possible if they can knock off big teams, surely you can beat the small teams, right? Like surely if you can beat Aston Villa and Liverpool, surely you can beat Brentford, surely you can beat West Ham, surely you can beat Leeds, surely you can beat Tottenham, right? That's not even that bad. Brentford's going to be tough, but they have the talent to beat the other 3. And if you can beat the other 3, now you're looking at something special. Maybe one of the the best like relegation, like I don't know, relegation saves. Is that a thing? Right? Whatever it is, one of the best rallies out of relegation ever. Just by the opposition you've beat and the moment in which you've beaten them, it would be incredible. But Liverpool, man, that's tough. But it's great news for Chelsea, because now you have a game in hand, and you obviously have a better goal difference than Liverpool. And it's a big game against Aston Villa. They have to go and win, but it's possible, right? And especially if you beat Aston Villa, now you're talking about like possibly top four, and that secures your place even more, right? You'd only be 3 points off the top four at that point, and my goodness, man, that's a crazy result for Wolves, man. For Liverpool though, that sucks. That sucks. Liverpool haven't lost in such a long time, right? They had this streak, I think of, I don't know, maybe we could count it, man, but this was a long streak, right? Oh yeah, I forgot they lost to Bournemouth that during the streak, but for a long, like they hadn't. That's very few losses in a long time, right? But yeah, man, I feel like that City game was so long ago, but it really wasn't. Well, yeah, Liverpool should be winning this game, right? And now you're losing to Wolves, and you have very important UCL tie to go into against Galatasaray, which is not going to be easy, right? If you thought playing in I guess Wolves aren't in Wolverhampton, are they? But in the Molineux was oh, they are in Wolverhampton. I'm tripping. I don't know why I said that. Wolverhampton Wanderers, no duh. But if you thought playing at Wolves was going to be tough, then you have to go to Galatasaray in Turkey. Nah, man, that's a whole different level, right? And you could argue some of the players in Wolves are probably better than some of the Galatasaray players. As like Prem biased that is to say, right? Like I just maybe a few of them might get in, right? But at the end of the day, you still have Osimhen over there. That's gonna be tough. So that's a very bad result for Liverpool, I think, but very good for Wolves because now, look, if you can beat the big teams, anything's possible. You beat Arsenal, you've beaten Liverpool. You might as well go ahead and beat relegation while you're at it. You feel me? But yeah, man, very great midweek. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I love scrolling Fat Mob. But yeah, that's very big midweek fixtures today. Tomorrow's gonna be even more fun, man. We'll see how this Newcastle United game shakes out too for that top five race, because United are obviously playing well, but they haven't. That's not true. They did beat Arsenal, but still, going to St. James is a tough test, man. I was gonna say they haven't had a test like Newcastle, but it's tough, man. It's tough to go play Newcastle. It really is. Obviously, City and Arsenal still going at it. We'll see how that shakes out, especially Forest, who are in a relegation battle. And obviously Villa, Chelsea. My goodness, what a game that's about to be. What else are we missing? There's a few cup games tomorrow. Obviously, Coupe de France. We'll see who goes and meets Atleti in the final. And yeah, man, I mean, if you're looking forward to the rest of the week while you're at it, man, this Lyon Lens game, obviously going to be watching that. Spurs and Palace. I mean, Spurs are got to get out of relegation too, low key, but this Palace team is a tough nut to crack. And Friday, PSG Monaco for the third time in like 3 weeks. My goodness, man. My gosh, what a week of football. And then after this, there's some FA Cup, got some Liga, obviously. But really what I'm trying to get to is next midweek. Champions League, baby. I'll be doing some round of 16 predictions on the weekend. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And I think it's also, is it daylight savings? I don't know, because these are later. I don't know if the UK, like Europe, daylight savings is different than the US. That might be what it is. But yeah, man, thank you guys for watching. It's been your boy, Ollie Footy. Until next time, we out.